Hey guys, before we start this video, you wouldn't believe that I got this in my email literally before I was going to upload this one. So, of course, I had to throw this in there at the beginning because it was very fitting. And I want to say thank you to Parth, a very loyal subscriber who has been part of the channel for years now. Thanks for reaching out to Ahmed with your own money to get him to say that. It was really cool, and I hope to one day meet Ahmed himself. Now enjoy the video.
Hey Theory, this is Ahmed Best. I played Jar Jar in Star Wars, and on behalf of your online family, we'd like to say thank you for doing what you love, sharing your love of Star Wars with us all. Thanks very much.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. This one's a pretty interesting one. It's about our favorite character, Jar Jar Binks, or who most like to call the true Sith Lord. In these 10 facts, we're going to go over some interesting things. Starting off with number 1, we have the early Disney connection. Decades before Disney bought Lucasfilm, when George Lucas was still coming up with the story and characters for Episode 1, the filmmaker wanted to make his next installment into the Star Wars franchise to be more kids-friendly. As George puts it, I can't even begin to tell you how much of an influence Disney has had on me. I will say one secret that nobody knows: not many people realize that Goofy was the inspiration for Jar Jar Binks. I know that you will look at him differently now. It's pretty obvious, actually, but I love Goofy, and I love Jar Jar. So, there we go. The accident-prone cartoon K9 was a direct influence on the creation of Jar Jar Binks. However, for the comedy relief's name, George was inspired by his son, Jet Lucas. Jet helped make Jar Jar and Goofy a Gungan. Number 2. He prevented a second droid invasion on Naboo. After The Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks' presence in the following 2 films in the prequels was severely reduced. However, the character did get his moment to shine again in the animated TV series The Clone Wars. In fact, the character, voiced by Ahmed Best, was featured in a number of episodes on the show, often on some diplomatic mission alongside Senator Padme Amidala or during events taking place on his home world of Naboo. On one of these missions, Jar Jar Binks was sent back to Naboo to help stop a separatist droid invasion of the Republic world. Given that he played a major role in repelling the Trade Federation's droid invasion a few years earlier, the Gungan might not even have been such a bad choice for the mission. Jar Jar learned that a scientist in a nearby factory was engineering a deadly virus called Blue Shadow that was meant to spread all over Naboo. Thankfully, the Gungan war hero was able to stop the separatist plans and save the day, with a little help from some obscure characters named Ahsoka Tano, Padme Amidala, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker. Number 3. Michael Binks. The king of pop, Michael Jackson, was a big Star Wars fan and became good friends with George Lucas. So, when the time came for the Star Wars creator to begin work on The Phantom Menace, Jackson petitioned Lucas about playing the role of Jar Jar Binks, feeling that having one of the most famous performers in the world in Episode 1 would overshadow every other character in the movie. Lucas politely turned the pop star down. Jackson accepted his decision and showed Lucas no ill will. In fact, he even invited him to come to one of his performances. Lucas brought Natalie Portman and the actor that the Jar Jar role had gone to, Ahmed Best. After the show, the 3 of them met with Jackson backstage and got along splendid. That is, until Lucas mentioned that Best was going to be Jar Jar. Michael then went immediately cold towards the actor, much to Best's confusion and leaving him with a very unusual experience. But now, finally, Jar Jar is one of the most beloved characters in Star Wars. And I'm really happy about this, because I always loved Jar Jar. Number 4. It's a Gungan. On another heroic mission for the Republic in the Clone Wars series, Jar Jar was sent on a diplomatic mission to the home world of Admiral Akbar, Mon Cala. Their king had been assassinated, which had only inflated the tensions between the Mon Calamari and the planet's other native species, the Quareen, which had erupted into a civil war. Taking advantage of the situation, the Separatists moved in behind the scenes and did their part to make the situation even more hostile. This led to the Republic to send Senator Padme Amidala, the Jedi Kit Fisto, and Anakin Skywalker. Their mission was to thwart the threat and reduce the tensions between the two sides. But because the entire world was essentially one big ocean, they were at a disadvantage, except for Kit Fisto. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi insisted that Jar Jar be dispatched to Naboo to plead with the Gungans to help the Mon Calamari. Eventually, the clumsy diplomat was able to convince his people to join the cause, and the Gungans helped to turn the tide of the conflict that besieged Mon Cala. Number 5. Jar Jar Binks is the first CGI main character. Motion capture technology has become a homestay of big genre blockbusters today, but back in 1997, when production of The Phantom Menace began, the technology wasn't unheard of, but it was definitely in its infancy. The technique had been used by filmmakers for specific shots and the use of CGI to create background characters in crowded scenes, which was being used in the film industry. However, motion capture had never been used to create a wholly CGI character out of one of the principal roles before. That is, until George Lucas. Ahmed Best's Jar Jar Binks beat Andy Serkis's Gollum as the first fully realized CGI character. Jar Jar ushered in a new age of filmmaking and helped shape modern usage of mocap technology. Number 6. Frozen Gungan. Both Jar Jar Binks and his voice, Ahmed Best, have also shown up in other animated programs other than the Clone Wars, such as in Disney Infinity 3.0 or LEGO Star Wars Droid Tales. Even without Best, Jar Jar had appeared throughout various Star Wars projects. For instance, in the video game about Darth Vader's secret apprentice, The Force Unleashed, there is a fun nod to the Goofy-inspired character, as at one point in the game, the Gungan can actually be seen frozen in carbonite. Number 7. He was Yoda's fight coordinator. Among some of the most debated moments from the prequels is the infamous duel between Jedi Master Yoda and the evil Count Dooku on Geonosis in Attack of the Clones. While many fans were excited to finally be able to see the diminutive Jedi Master jump around and kick some butt, others thought the CGI fight scene was cringy and just took away from Yoda's serenity. It even violated some of Lucas's earlier ideas for the character, as neither the Grand Master nor the Emperor were meant to use lightsabers. But of course that changed, and I'm really glad it did. After Ahmed Best, who had a background in martial arts and dance, got his hands on the script and read the scene. He noted that it seemed mostly as a placeholder and hadn't been fleshed out, so he reached out to the effects supervisor Rob Coleman and offered his expertise to help craft the scene. Best wrote most of the action and choreography for the scene, having Yoda fight separately with his body while he uses the Force to control his lightsaber in the battle, was one of Best's major inputs to the scene. With that said, it couldn't have been easy for the Jar Jar actor. Not only was his character abhorred by the majority of fans, sadly, but all the work he put into the scene was also controversial. Number 8. The Empire is Jar Jar Binks' fault. Though there weren't many scenes with Jar Jar in Attack of the Clones, and he was all but gone from Revenge of the Sith, there was actually a deleted scene that fleshed out the Gungans' relationship with Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine. The Naboo native notoriously helped elevate Palpatine's rise to power when he gave the speech that swayed the Senate to grant the Chancellor emergency powers at the end of Episode 2, which eventually led to the destruction of the Jedi, the rise of the Empire, and the death of billions. A big oopsie on Jar Jar's part. But in that deleted scene from Episode 3, Jar Jar walks down a long pathway with Palpatine as the Chancellor. In not so many words, thanks the Gungan for putting him in power. The scene kinda showed how far Jar Jar had come, or perhaps fallen, as he went from a fun-loving kid's character into a manipulated politician. Number 9. The Binks side of the Force. Though manipulated politicians from a certain point of view might not be accurate, by now most of you probably have heard the years-old theory that before George Lucas changed his mind due to the reaction from fans towards the character, he originally meant for Jar Jar Binks to be revealed as a Sith Lord. So, the manipulated politician might have been Palpatine and not Jar Jar. Though it may seem far-fetched, Ahmed Best thinks there is some merit to it. In an early draft for The Phantom Menace, there was talk about having Jar Jar Binks be a double-agent mercenary. So if you go with this Darth Binks theory, then the Gungan purposely ushered in the Galactic Empire and wanted Sidious to take power. It's definitely not true, but George Lucas has of yet not denied the theory. Number 10. His fate. But regardless of whatever ideas George Lucas may or may not have had for the character, they no longer are a factor, as Disney is making their own canon. And in the new canon, as revealed in the Aftermath series of books that takes place after Return of the Jedi, we learn Jar Jar's fate in a bittersweet ending for the character and in a bite of satire. Jar Jar is now a street performer and clown who is loved by kids but shunned by the adults Nabooians and Gungans alike because of the part he played in the rise of the Empire. But it's a large galaxy, and perhaps Jar Jar's story is not quite over, and one day he may get some redemption both on and off the screen. I'd like to thank Ahmed Best for his wonderful and great portrayal of Jar Jar Binks. He was definitely a big staple in my childhood growing up seeing that character, as he was the awesome comic relief. Hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this info on Jar Jar. Until the next episode, remember, the Force will be with you always.